We are back for another episode of Table Talk. This week, we have got to talk about the FIFA Best Awards. This is a big one. This week, again, I'm joined by Helen Hardy, and we got Moyo. Moyo, you're a resident. You don't need no second name introduction. But, question of today. On that FIFA Best list of those players, who deserves to get the award? Let's get into it. We're going to get the list up now of players.
And then I'm going to moan a lot. I promise I won't.
I hope not.
Well, so this is the list. I'm going to go first. Mine is Beth Mead. I put Beth Mead down. And there's been a lot of argument about Beth Mead, Alexia Putellas, this, that, the Ballon d'Or. So I think Beth does that. She had a fantastic season as well. But I'll let you lot talk before I rant on. So, Moyo.
I've gone for Alexia. I wrote it the first time and I was thinking, why does my handwriting look ugly? Because it's actually not. Like, I've actually got decent handwriting. So I was like, let me just do it again in short form.
Okay.
I've gone for the most underrated player in the world, probably the best defensive midfielder of all time in women's football, Kira Walsh.
I love that you lot have done, like, we've all wrote names differently. Like, we are not in sync.
I was like, I want them to see it.
This is my art competition,
I should have done it like that.
by the way. I do want to give a shout out to Kira Walsh for actually getting on the list, because I think since the Euros, with everyone hyping up about her, finally, she's actually starting to get the recognition she deserves.
Yeah.
Alex Morgan?
I actually get it more now. I get it
because
more
she
this
scored
season.
loads. Like, her goal ratio
I get it
is
more
crazy.
this season than the last two. The last two lists that she's been involved in, it's literally, they're going off of the 2018 World Cup. That's how, I mean, 2019, that's how bad times are right now.
There are 3 names on there that if we're looking at accolades alone, they should be on there. And that for me is Ada Hegerberg, for, of course, with Lyon, Champions League final. Pulling it out for Lyon. No one expected that to happen. And then, of course, like, her first time back in the Norway team. And I know that they didn't have the greatest tournament, but for that alone, in terms of, like, stepping back in, making that big leap. And then, of course, Lyon went on to win the title. And it's not that easy anymore to win the title with Lyon, because PSG are coming up. There's other teams in there that are in the mix. And then the other two for me, on accolades alone, are Oberdorf and Pop, winning the title, which again is difficult because Bayern Munich are in the mix with Wolfsburg. And then, of course, the European final with Pop being an absolute superstar. And she could have won the Golden Boot if she hadn't got injured in the warm-up.
Lena had an incredible tournament as well.
And Oberdorf, unbelievable.
So we're
looking at the accolades element. I think those 3, for me, I get it why they're in the mix.
Listen, I love Jessie Fleming as much as the next person, but let's just get real here. Like, why would she have been in... Listen, there's not that many names on here, by the way. We're acting like there's like 60 names on here. How can she be in this short list? Best. That one's ridiculous.
That's like less than half than what some of the WSL players are doing when there's a major tournament.
Oh, yeah.
It's
on top of the Connie Cup, FA Cup.
I think that's the big difference at the moment in women's football versus, say, the best in men's football, because often they share the same system, which is September to May and then an international tournament. With the NWSL, it's so hit and miss. No one really knows when's it starting and when it's finishing, what's going on. So when we're looking at the best, to get clarity, if we're looking at the year of 2022, then...
Your Geordie is coming out so much.
I was in Sunderland yesterday. I was doing the Sunderland derby yesterday, so I think I've been around a lot of Northeast people. So if you're looking at 2022, I don't see, no offence, how Alexia can be in the mix for that. Because for her January to May, which is what it ended up being, sadly,
because of the injury.
Because of her injury, you know, she could have easily been on this list and we wouldn't even be having this discussion. Because she could have stormed through the Euros and I wouldn't have doubted it if she had.
The reason why my vote is with Alexia, though, is because is this for 2022 or does it start at the start of the season? You know how the Ballon d'Or is like the season of 21-22? Or is it from the year starting till when they do this award? Like, that's what's not making sense to me. And the only reason I went with Alexia, and the thing is, I was kind of looking at Beth Mead as my like other option, but I'm sorry, I don't know if I can go for Beth Mead over Alexia purely because I don't know how we can discount having no domestic trophies. Like, let's be honest, it's a bit, insane, I think, to say the best. No domestic trophies. And the one competition we had to compare someone like Alexia to Beth was the Champions League. And in the game they both played against each other, the aggregate scoreline was like 8-1.
Yeah.
Like the thing, like, I've gone to Beth, well, not to Beth, I've gone for Beth.
You've run to her. You've run to her.
No, because I'm looking at it as in performances as well, and that's the thing. Like, when she is, well, pre-ACL, when she was performing in matches, how much she was scoring, how much she was getting done, her effect both on and off the ball, and what she was adding to that. Although there's no trophies in there, what she brought to the table was a lot. The Euros, she obviously was just top tier. That would be the reason I'd say Beth.
I think you talked a second ago about stopping Alexia in the Champions League final. For club and country, and particularly for country, Keira Walsh is always overlooked. For me, she was the player of the match in the European final.
Agreed.
I think. And so I was like looking down, going, oh, I wonder who won it. And of course, it's like, it's always going to go the way of the person that scores the goal or the way of the person that kind of produces the goods in that moment. Keira Walsh was the opening goal. She was their Latoon goal in that moment. And when Germany went out there, I'm telling you right now, their game plan was stop Keira Walsh, we stop England.
10,000%.
And every time we went to the Sheffield game, the Sweden game, I always call it by the stadium. When we're in Sheffield for the Sweden game, it was stop Keira Walsh, we stop England. And I think in the dressing room, it was good. Serena was hoping people weren't going to recognise the Keira Walsh thing in the public. Because I think it was kind of like, well, of course we're starting Keira Walsh as the best player in the England squad. And everybody else was kind of, it was going unnoticed. And if you flash back to 2019, Phil Neville would not stop going on about Lucy Bronze. And I do wonder, he would go, Lucy Bronze, the best player in the world, best player in the world. I'm telling you now, she's the best women's
footballer. He was flying that flag
so much.
He was like, Lucy Bronze or nothing.
And if you compare them,
it's all or nothing. You got Lucy Bronze or nothing.
Serena.
Don't get me wrong, like, she was a very, very good player. But there's other players to pick apart. But that's what you say. Like,
I think Serena protected Keira, and it was like, let's not talk about Keira.
I've always said this. Keira Walsh is like a younger version of Jill Scott. For me, Jill Scott was always misconsistency, and she went under the radar. Like, this is in the middle of the park. Jill Scott was just misconsistent. I'm not saying Jill should be on this list, but my point is, like, Keira fell into the slot of Jill of like misconsistent, but no one recognised her, and like, because they were so consistent, they didn't get recognised.
She never has a below 7 out of 10 game. I've never gone and been like, Keira, whoa, that wasn't great. She's player of the match time after time, but she's just never given it because someone scores a hat trick or, you know, there's a heel flick in the semi-final or whatever.
She's the tempo setter. I feel like for me, especially, like, I like, every time I think of like my favourite player, it's always the midfield player. Like, and I feel like the person that plays the 6 is always the least spoken about because you're not there for goals and assists.
You just expect them to do their job, innit?
Yeah, but she plays the hybrid role so well between being a deep line playmaker and being a defensive midfielder.
Like, she's here, she's there.
Some people are standard 6s, like just breaking up play. Some people are 6s in the sense that they create from deep, but she does both.
This isn't going to be a discussion next year when we sit back down in a year's time with a year in Barcelona and Barcelona do what Barcelona do, and then we go to a World Cup and win it. Keira Walsh.
Big shout.
She'll be the name. Like, it won't even be a discussion. We'll be going, oh, who's going to win the best?
The only thing that not worries me, but why I think that she won't be up for, like, won't be up for it, but why I think she won't win an award like that is that...
The goals.
Not even the goals, because I could see Lena Oberdorf winning the award before Keira Walsh wins it.
Do you not think,
it's the media. I'm telling you.
Yeah, but do you not think as well, like, people do naturally go to like goals or assists first?
I feel like
tell me no, like, if someone's, do you know what I mean? Like,
I feel like
that's why so many people. It's like we said, that's why so many people get recognition.
No, but that's an English thing.
There is a bit of an obsession in women's football with like leaning on the personality aspect.
That's what I was literally just going to say. Like, yes, I know.
But I feel like the personality of players in women's football
is overruled by how good they are.
It's like Rapinoe did not deserve to win it the second time. When we look at Lika Martins and she won the opening Ballon d'Or, And she was a fantastic player at the time, and I fully rate Lika Martins. But I do think that her personality, the cover girl kind of energy, it was like she was so famous in the Netherlands and all of that stuff. I think it really added to it. And the same for Alexia. I mean, she's the poster girl for Barcelona, the greatest team in women's football right now. She's a poster girl for Barcelona and for Spain.
And accolades for
captain, all that stuff.
I feel like we choose one person
and latch onto
and then that's we're running with. We're running with her. And right now, the person that England is running with is Leah Williamson. So,
but we've not spoken about Leah Williamson in this.
I'm not going to lie. Leah Williamson was not even better than Millie Bright in the Euros.
And I was going to
say Millie Bright, someone who's also missed off.
If we're talking about a missing person on this list.
Bar Sophia.
WSL title.
Yeah.
European champion. Played, I think, every minute of every game in the Euros. Maybe it was her and Leah, played almost every minute of the Euros.
For Chelsea had a lot of minutes.
Beast.
Yeah, and they won the league, and they won the cups, and they won, like, she actually has everything.
More accolades than Leah.
Yeah, but we can't vote for Millie, so we're going to have to pick these awards back up. So out of the three we've got to go for one of them. Like, so who are we knocking out?
I think, I'm obviously, I've got my own here that I was always going to back, but I think if we're going to pick one that's, like, going to win it, I think it's going to be Beth Mead. Beth Mead, obviously, in the biggest moments, on the biggest stage, has proved she's there.
And shown the best.
She won not only player of the tournament, she won the Golden Boot. And I know she didn't win any domestics, but I think she was there or thereabouts. And you look around the team around her, and I think Arsenal was still building that season.
But she did shine, like.
She did.
I know she hasn't got titles,
and it's an individual accolade, so really and truly, I get why.
Yeah, I think, look.
I get why Beth Mead would be the vote.
I think I'd like to think we're going to go with Beth, but we need to give a shout out to these two. I get your point about Alexia. Your thing for Kira, what you said, like, is exciting when we flip back to this in a year's time. But to sum it up, to bring one of the three, and even the people that are missed off, we've got to go for Beth Mead, who deserves to win the award.
Meadows on fire.
This has been Table Talk. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.